Okay, glue's hot. Double check the fit. That's there. That's there. Looks good. Looks good. Still liking it? You guys still like it? Hope so. Because I think we're about ready to commit. And kind of like we did a while back. What the heck were we doing? Trying to fit the angle on stuff. I think I'm going to tack the front, since it's easy to find the level, or make sure that these surfaces are level. We'll tack the front, then we can fine tune the back, because it's going to be a little trickier to line up both sides of the shell where we need it. So let's get this guy where he needs to be. That's pretty good. Okay, just checking the level real quick with the top of the Centurion part here and kind of trying to line it up with the line at the base of the rail just to make sure we're looking straight, and it looks good. Okay, let that cure or cool, and then we'll see about sticking some DevCon in there and sticking it in for keeps. Okay. It kind of looks kind of cool sighting down it and seeing, rail on both sides of the jam door. So, I think we're ready to start slinging some DevCon around. I'm trying to find my stirrer stick when we have all these weird little black pieces of the Maverick grip, It's a bit tricky. Okay, now we'll just let that cure for a little while. As those of you watching at home may have noticed, I made a monumental error. When I added the tack rail, the two halves were screwed together, and then I placed them in between the two little side portions from the Stampede. When I did that, I covered up the screw port and eliminated access to that screw, meaning I can't get the shell apart. So, I could either take the, cut everything apart and take the tack rail out, then unscrew it and put it back in, or I could drill a hole through the Stampede parts over the screw port and extract it that way. What I ended up doing was taking the rail out and basically redoing everything all over again. I decided not to record that because that was a screw up on my part, and I'm not going to put you guys through it. So basically I just shut the camera off and continued on with what I was doing, repaired all of that, and went along and just did a lot of the kind of menial tasks, a lot of the sanding and filing and trying to clean things up a little bit. So we have the rail as it sits here, looking very, very good. But as I said, in the meantime, I took this and made it look like this. I feel very good about this. Now, it looks like I did a whole lot, but really all I did was just clean up the, gooshed out DevCon everywhere. So it was a lot of time with these little files and the big file and some blades and just a lot of detail work, just coming in here and just kind of like and just little bits there. So as you can see, there's still plenty of finish work to do, but at least this gets the bulk of it out. And when I was trying to clean up this DEF CON everywhere, I ended up cutting off most of the logo, which I was going to get rid of anyway, but I decided to just clear it off while I'm at it. We still have this one on this side to take care of. So I will be covering this kind of stuff in brief detail, but I mean, it's just sanding and filing, and I don't think you guys necessarily need, you know, me to hold your hand or anything while you're doing that. Most important part is keep the file flat and make sure that you're not gouging anything. There's a few little nicks here and there that I wasn't able to avoid, but like I said, there's still a little bit of finish work to do in here, but this kind of takes care of a bulk of it. So I think now we're going to focus on finishing up the barrel, because what we've got so far is, I don't want to get like anything complete, because I don't want to damage anything in the process of doing something else. So I'm just kind of getting this to a neutral area where it's like there's still plenty of finish work to do, and a little bit of, we'll probably have to do a little bit of putty in for a few little spots, and I'm going to go through and wet sand and block everything out anyway, but that was just kind of taking a bulk of it out. I want to focus on completing the barrel portion, which looks pretty good, except for it's still wide open on the front here. And we can still either trim this back a little bit to tuck the barrel in a little bit more. But what I'm going to do is take some more of the leftovers from the Centurion barrel, which fit on like that. And I want to try to pull this portion off that it basically caps the end and has this little kick out, which is kind of nice, and adds another screw port. But also, it I think it'll give us this little notch down here that I think we can cut off there and have that kind of blend everybody in when we put the barrel on it. And also think while we're at it, in order to pull the overall length in, because I don't want to have the barrel too long, because I do want it to be somewhat compact and aggressive looking. So I think when this was just a very rough cut. It's crooked and everything like that. This was just I cut it a hair long because I just wanted to get the overall look down and see if that's where I wanted to go. So I think we're going to pull this back a little bit further, clean up one of these lines, and pull that in a little further. So I'm thinking we're pretty much committed to this line here, because if we cut it back any further, then we're going to lose this nice clean finished edge here. It would be cool to cut it back to either like this big strap looking part or just this little reducer part here, but then we're going to get that more of a raw look. And I don't want to have this piece be very finished on the end, because I'm going to leave this as a separate piece so we can maintain some orange bits. Since this is being integrated into the rest of the body, this is going to end up being probably some kind of metallic color or gray or something like that. So if we're sticking everything together at once, it wouldn't be such a big deal, because we can just kind of blend the barrel into any raw cuts here. But I do want this to be a separate unit and have it be nice and clean and finished looking. So I'm thinking there's these kind of like little ribs or whatever here. We may lose some of that in order to, because we're gonna, when we cut this off here, where's my square? Pull you in a little bit so you can see what's going on. That gets me every time. Gosh. How the heck are we going to get this? Anyway. Let's see. It looks like if we take this straight down, it's going to take off this raised portion and will be in this kind of lower area here. So if we cut this up as far as we can go, okay, we can either, well, shoot. You know what we might end up doing is, instead of trying to save this kind of detail, we may just fill it in. We may cut this off here so we have a nice straight edge to work with. Cut it off here, so this is the higher portion, and this will be the higher portion, and we'll just use this and just kind of fill this whole area in when we DEF CON it. So it'll be flat all the way across, but at least it'll look finished. Otherwise, we're trying to have like one of these little rib things, and if we can't get the lines right, then it's going to look goofy. So I think what we're going to do is take this the rest of the way off. Where's my sword? Foiler. In hindsight, this probably would have been easier before we stuck it to the rest of the blaster, because when we're trying to negotiate this around and get the saw on there, we're going to have everything else shaking around. So I think we'll just do the best that we can. Just trying to see if we can use this as a straight edge and go. Okay, it's not perfect, but I think it'll be perfect enough. That could be cool to play you guys out a little bit. There we go. So you can hold it this way and use the existing face here to at least give us a good start on a straight edge. So, as I try to give the blaster a bit of a headlock, more or less, under my arm to keep it in camera frame, and try to keep it as flat and flush as possible with this end, so we're getting a nice straight cut. I'm just kind of sneak up on it. Okay, that didn't work out so great. So we're just going to wing it and just try to eyeball along this line, I think. Okay, that actually looks fairly promising. Okay, failed that one. I think while we're at it, we'll clip these guys off. These were from the support pieces for this guy, right? Yeah. But I don't want some kind of goofy thing hanging out, so I think we'll snipper them off while we're at it. How cool would it be if we can cut both sides at the same time without bad things happening? In hindsight, it might have been easier to just go out to the shed, turn on the bandsaw, and just go zip. But you know what? I don't want to walk that far. Besides, a lot of people don't have access to a bandsaw, so that's how I'm justifying. Yeah, no, never mind. Anyway, so we've got this going on. And it's horribly crooked. And so what we can do is, the heck? Use our straight edge and say, oh golly, that's not straight at all. You need to relax. Okay, looks like that is about downright copacetic. So we'll use that as our standard and try to get everybody else to go down to that level. Because we had the remnants of the line we were originally going for, and this is already the shortest cut, and so I think we'll just clean it up and make everybody else match that. In fact, we can nip a little bit more off of that right there. Getting real close. I think that's close enough till we can get this side caught up. Okay, looks pretty promising. So, I think we can start looking into Okay. Go sit in your chair. Well, I kind of think we'll cut it off here. Get this where it drops down. I think we'll just cut it off flush there. That'll give us enough to build our little end cap. And yeah, that ought to do it. Okay, now I just have to look at see what the relationship's going to be here. Not horrible. Kind of expecting more, I think. I kind of think, looking at it now, because I do want this end cap, so it'll finish off the bottom of the rail part. Or I guess this would be the barrel support, whatever you want to call it, technical terms. But I don't really like this kind of weird step down that it gives. It'd be cool if we can cut about an inch out of the barrel to where the actual, actual muzzly guy butts right up. But then be able to tuck this in. So what we might end up doing is we might just cut off this whole cradle part. Just leave this, you might call it the pedestal, to where the muzzle will fit, right into the barrel support part, and this piece will just kind of, more come under this area. That way we have a little more, I don't know what you call barrel continuity or something. If this was like a more tapered fit or something, where it kind of came from here and then tapered down, I think we'd be able to get away with it. But it's just you have kind of a subtle step right here, and then a big step, and it just I don't like what it's doing to the overall look of things. I think if we just pull it in, because that'd be a pretty. If we pull this in, all the way to the end of the support part, then you'd have this big collar, then kind of a reducer, and then this, and then you'd have a ring more or less, but not a real change in size before it comes out to the muzzle. And I think that'd make it look a lot more completed. And so I think under the circumstances, I think we'll fit that part first. That way we can trim and fit this part up and around and tuck it in afterwards. So there we go. So yeah, about a ½ inch. This is all very irregular on the end anyway, because it's going to be buried inside the blaster, so I'm not too concerned about that part. So if we just say like that. Okay. A little happier with that. Looks a little more simplified, a little more complete. Not as much weird stuff, kind of distracting ups and downs going on. So, actually, I think under the circumstances, we can just nip all this off, because we need to get rid of this cradle bit, and also just reduce the height a little bit so it'll tuck up instead of there. Just eliminate basically the thickness of the plastic. And let's see if that goes there, like that. Yeah. Okay, so we got the majority of it off. We just need to tuck this up just a little bit. Okay, I think that just about does it. Would have been cool to have some kind of angly thing that came up, but I think what I might end up doing to just kind of help it blend together a little better is after we blend this in, when we get ready for paint, I'll still want the muzzle and the barrel insert orange, but I might paint just this ring, this kind of collar, the body color. That way once it rests in there, we don't have like this sharp line coming in and straight up where it's like, you know, I don't mind having, you know, the orange tip in the barrel, but I think having this kind of a 90-degree right there might be a little weird. We'll definitely test it beforehand. I mean, once we start painting, putting a base coat down and kind of getting a feel for things, then I'll test it. And if it looks okay, then we'll run with it. And if not, we'll make adjustments. So I think we're to the point we can start at least looking at this and saying, come on now. So everybody all strap. Come on. Okay, one problem I'm noticing is that the bottom portion here, where the rail is located, isn't totally flat, just as however the mold is set up. It's got a slight belly to it. So we can't use the square necessarily to orient straight across, because you're going to be pitching that way a little bit this way and pitching that way a little bit this way. So I'm going to just favor this one side, and that seems to keep things aligned pretty good. So it's just going to make it a little trickier, but I think we can start heating up the hot glue gun. So I'll get that plugged in, and we'll get that put in place.